Thank you for visiting my channel.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
One of the advantages of running a small, obscure channel is that many of the people who do manage to find one of my clips often appreciate the same things. People who write the most heartfelt messages and put the heart and soul into what they create. Without ever receiving the recognition they deserve.
Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
And though, of course, we're always going to have a difference of opinion about something, and you might not like some of the things I upload and share, I wouldn't expect or wish for anything else.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I am totally blanking out on books.
What do you do for a living?
I was a librarian. Now I'm unemployed.
I was a librarian.
I was raised in a way that values discourse. Another day goes by without having a discussion with someone. It is my belief that this is one of the ways we grow. And instead of going through life with blinders on, convinced that my opinion is the only truth that exists, by having discussions, we learn to see different perspectives. Wisdom, and whatever small portion of it that we may acquire, does not exist without this. So thank you. Recently, one of the clips I uploaded is gaining some traction, and with it comes an increase in dislikes. It's not a mystery to anyone that no matter what you do or say, you're always going to have people disliking it.
Hey, what if we introduce a new elf that only has one character trait? And that character trait is that he talks like this all the time, like he's a ventriloquist puppet that was traumatized in Vietnam.
I don't get mad, nigga. That shit was funny. That shit was funny.
And he talks like this all the time, like he's a ventriloquist puppet who was traumatized in Vietnam.
I don't have to listen to this shit, alright?
And though clearly the internet has the ability to bring people together, it often seems overshadowed by negative behavior and criticism towards anyone we might disagree with. Instead of coming together and searching for a middle road that benefits in some way all peoples.
I am not one of you, but I fight! I fight with Robin Hood! I fight against the tyrant who holds you under his boot!
I'll say this only once. A team is not a team if you don't give a damn about one another.
Those on opposite sides of each other spend their time, lives, and money reinforcing only their own belief system, while they use every effort and spare no expense.
Totally non-polluting, top of the line, spared no expense.
To belittle, or at the very least disregard, everyone who thinks differently. Because this is a small and somewhat private channel, I can do and say whatever I want. But it's up to me to use that freedom in a way that benefits everyone. When the internet first became available, many of the people I knew were, and still are, extremely hesitant. One of the arguments was that it allows for the sharing of information by anyone, often without having to disclose or depend on verifiable sources. And where once your only recourse were books written by real experts, these days we have YouTube channels, TikTok, and Instagram video feeds. And though there are undoubtedly channels with intrinsic value, I fear they will never become mainstream, and they are not widely watched.
A kind of thinking that most people don't spend most of their time doing. It's called philosophy.
For me, the biggest question that remains is how we can best educate ourselves and future generations, in which we rely on the foundations of the past, while we use the benefits of today, of being able to access such information much more quickly, so that all may benefit.
It's a fine three-master, thin like a bird. Heave-ho, Estirente. Oh, Captain Parfitos never said a hard word as we sail all our troubles away.
More and more, I'm starting to believe that we can spend our entire lives trying to cut through the fog of misinformation and one-sided arguments, perpetuated by governments, large companies, and YouTubers alike.
Die maskers die wel wat toevoegen op dat punt, laten we die vooral in onze ziekenhuizen gebruiken. En laten we die vooral in onze verpleeghuizen gebruiken, in de thuiszorg. En er is al een groot tekort aan dat type maskers die daadwerkelijk werken. En zelfgefabriceerde mondkapjes of alles wat daarop lijkt, het voegt niets toe. Het biedt echt een vorm van schijnveiligheid. Dus laten we dat nou niet doen.
Eerder dan 1 juni mag natuurlijk, maar vanaf 1 juni is het mondkapje verplicht. En ik benadruk dat iedereen daar zelf voor moet zorgen. Zelf maken mag, kopen mag, maar het is uitdrukkelijk niet de bedoeling medische mondkapjes te gebruiken, want die zijn bestemd voor de zorg.
Flooding our minds and thoughts with endless streams of fleeting and momentary acts of entertainment, distracting us from the things which hold true meaning and are indeed the foundation of what survives after we're gone.
TikTok is now a breeding ground for mental disorders. Instagram knew that their algorithm was causing eating disorders, higher levels of anxiety and depression, but they hid this data for 2 years. Frequent social media usage has been linked to depression, anxiety, and feelings of loneliness. These are only a few of the many sources that you can find that links content consumption with mental health issues. How the algorithm works is that it pushes out specific videos to specific audiences that it thinks it will do well with. This can cause closed-mindedness and put people in a bubble depending on what niche they are in.
Swiping between the things we find valuable and the things we find worthless, between the things we like and dislike, it is a gigantic waste of time. Any real change can only come from within.
For whom the bell tolls, Ernest Hemingway.
Jack read it a dozen times, always right before a big job. He said the guy who wrote it was tougher than Morgan Blackhand.
The world is a fine place and worth fighting for. I agree with the second part.